Hello and welcome. You're watching Today in Parliament with me, Aishwarya, and these are the Parliament headlines. Parliament proceedings to begin at 2 p.m. today. Jammu and Kashmir appropriation bill listed in Rajya Sabha's agenda. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu calls a meeting of all party leaders of the upper house. Discussion likely on the duration of the ongoing budget session. In Lok Sabha, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to move Finance Bill 2020 for consideration and passing. Major Port Authorities Bill and Companies Amendment Bill also listed in the lower house's agenda. Rajya Sabha to continue discussion on functioning of the Ministry of Law and Justice. Discussion on the working of Ministries of Rural Development and Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare also listed. Both houses of Parliament will meet at 2 p.m. today. The decision was taken on Friday after several members expressed their inability to reach the national capital from their respective constituencies in the morning following the relocation of flights and also cancellation of trains due to COVID-19 outbreak. The question hour in both houses of Parliament will remain suspended today. And the Rajya Sabha is slated to take up a number of bills today. These include the Jammu and Kashmir Appropriation Bill 2020, the Jammu and Kashmir Appropriation number 2, number 3 and number 4 bills 2020 for consideration and return. The House will also take up the National Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Bill 2020 and the Aircraft Amendment Bill 2020 for consideration and passing. The Pesticide Management Bill 2020 is also listed for introduction in the House. Also listed for withdrawal are the Private Detective Agencies Regulation Bill 2007 and the Pesticides Management Bill 2008. And talking about the lower house of Parliament, the Lok Sabha today is scheduled to take up 4 key bills for consideration and passing. These include the Finance Bill 2020 to be moved by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. The bill gives effect to the financial proposals of the government for the current financial year 2020-2021. Nirmala Sitharaman will also move the Companies Amendment Bill 2020 for consideration and passing, which aims to further amend the Companies Act 2013. And the Banking Regulation Amendment Bill 2020 is also listed in the day's agenda for consideration and passing. The bill aims to further amend the Banking Regulation Act of 1949 and it will be moved by the Finance Minister. And the Major Port Authorities Bill 2020 will be moved by Union Minister Mansukh Mandaviya for consideration and passing. The bill aims to provide for the regulation, operation and the planning of major ports and also to vest the administration, control and the management of the ports to the boards of the major port authorities. Meanwhile, Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has called a meeting of all party leaders to take stock of the situation and also take a decision on the duration of the budget session of Parliament. Now, reports say that the budget session of Parliament could be curtailed due to COVID-19 challenge. Both the houses are likely to be adjourned sine die 12 days ahead of the original schedule after quickly passing the finance bill. It is noteworthy that more than 10 MPs have gone into self-quarantine after COVID-19 scare reaching Parliament Hall and the standing committee meetings. And now let's take a look at the other business that are listed in the Rajya Sabha today. Following ministers will lay papers on the table pertaining to their ministries. Let's take a look at some of them. Prakash Javadekar for the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Prahlad Joshi for the Ministry of Coal, Shripad Yeso Naik for the Ministry of Defence, Kiran Rijiju for the Ministry of Youth Affairs and the Ministry of Sports and the Ministry of Minority Affairs. Mansukh Mandaviya for the Ministry of Shipping, Arjun Ram Meghwal for the Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises and the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, General V.K. Singh for the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Ratan Lal Kataria for the Ministry of Jal Shakti, Pratap Chandra Sarangi for the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. And also, members of Rajya Sabha, Syed Nasir Hussain and N. Haq will make a statement of the Department-related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Information Technology. Also, for the discussion on the working of the Ministry of Law and Justice raised by Bhupender Yadav on 19th of March 2020, is listed in the day's agenda. Also, discussion on the working of the Ministries of Rural Development and Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare is going to be raised by Member Pratap Singh Bajwa. And now let's talk about the business in the lower house. Several ministers will lay papers pertaining to the ministries in the lower house. Some of them are Dharmendra Pradhan for the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Prahlad Singh Patel for the Ministry of Culture, Dhotri Sanjay Shamrao for the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Anurag Singh Thakur for the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. And statement of a Standing Committee on Information Technology will be laid on the table by the members Shashi Tharoor and Rajya Singh Rathore. Also, Secretary General will report 3 messages from Rajya Sabha regarding the association of members from the Rajya Sabha with the Committee on Public Accounts, Committee on Public Undertakings and the Committee on the Welfare of Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes, and minutes of the sitting of the committees on absence of members from the sitting of the House will be presented by members Ravneet Singh and Ajay Mishra Reni. All right, Panchanan Mishra is joining us on the phone line for more details on what is likely to happen in both houses today. Panchanan, we understand that both the houses will reassemble after 2 days, but the houses are going to reassemble at 2 p.m. today. And Chairman of the Rajya Sabha has called an meeting of all the party leaders where a discussion is going to happen on what happens in Parliament, especially in the backdrop of what we are witnessing in the national capital, a complete lockdown. And we understand that they are going to decide on the budget session and the duration of it.
Exactly, Aishwarya. Many things are there in the apprehension of this coronavirus. But as far as the business is concerned, both the houses are sitting at 2 p.m. because at 11, some members raised the issue that they are not able to reach the Parliament on the Mondays as they are travelling from different parts of the country. So the House is sitting from 2 a.m. and there will be no question hour. Heavy legislative agenda is also there. And because it's a budget session, so finally the finance bill is listed today in Lok Sabha. So the government's priority is to pass this finance bill. Now we have to see that whether there will be a discussion or what consensus will be there regarding this finance bill and all the other bills, because we are hearing that the floor leaders meeting is going to happen there under the chairmanship of Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu, and also Speaker will also meet. And there may be a further discussion, further decision regarding the curtailing of the parliament session, because earlier the Parliamentary Affairs Minister made it clear that the session will go up to the scheduled 3rd of April. But now it seems that there may be some important decisions regarding it. But as far as the business is concerned, Lok Sabha has the finance bill and also a major port bill authority, companies bill and banking regulation bill. So the legislative agenda is also there. And as you talked about Rajya Sabha is discussing this demand for grant for the law and justice, and another demand for grant for Ministry of Agriculture is also there. And Rajya Sabha is also scheduled to discuss this appropriation bill for Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, both union territories. And also medical termination of pregnancy and aircraft bill, which is passed by the Lok Sabha, is also listed there. But as you said that important decisions may be taken in the meetings before this sitting of the House. So all depends on it. But what we are learning right now, that there is heavy legislative agenda, and it's up to government to decide.
Absolutely. So a decision going to be taken really on the duration of the budget session. But what we do know at this moment is that both houses of Parliament will meet at 2 p.m. today. Of course, very important agenda in the Lok Sabha is going to be the finance bill. We have to wait and watch what happens when the houses meet at 2 p.m. We'll keep getting you all the updates on that. But that is all in this edition of Today in Parliament. Thanks so much for watching.